All right, the Olympics are upon us in the world of generative AI. I'm not saying AI in general because AI has been around for a number of years. We're now in the world of generative AI. And how is that changing? Well, not so much in the generative space, but generative AI has driven the performance of other machine learning and AI models just because of the computational power that companies are able to invest in and see value in. But the key term that I'm seeing with the technology being utilized in the Paris Olympics is computer vision, not so much the generative AI. But let's talk about what the Olympics are going to be doing in terms of changing the experience for the athletes as well as us, the viewers. So I know I said computer vision, not so much generative AI, but LLMs are the big craze, right? Chatbots. And this is no different. Now, when you're talking about what a use case is, you need to resolve a problem. And that problem is usually some sort of bottleneck and human as resources. That's why you see a lot of companies utilizing LLMs and chatbots to serve the customer experience, customer success. So that's no different. Some of the athletes will be able to utilize AthleteGPT, an artificial intelligence chatbot designed for them, accessible through the Athlete 365 mobile app. The reason being, every athlete, whether it's their first time or their 10th time, if that's possible, it's always different. It's always in a different venue. It's ran by different people. So there's always a number of questions. So they're able to scour thousands of information and pages very quickly and be available to answer 24/7. This chatbot, it's not going to be the big ones that I'm sure people are seeing, Meta's Llama or OpenAI's, but one that I actually like and I've used. It's powered by a Paris-based company. Makes sense. Paris Olympics, Paris-based company, Mistral AI. I actually built my last product on the machine learning rig behind me using their 7B Instruct model. But what's interesting is I'm seeing Intel's name tied closely between AI and the Olympics. And from a business strategy standpoint, attacking a market, I mean, I don't know how many eyes you could possibly get more than the eyes that'll be on the Olympics. It's a world event. So Intel, which I would place them third in the market amongst the behemoths of the GPU market, as far as NVIDIA being at the top, AMD, then Intel, is powering everything with their gaudy processors. So these are the beefy ones that are going to be running a lot of these generative AI models, can handle a number of computations in parallel. So it makes sense. And you continue to see a theme, at least in this nature.com article, with Intel's name tied. I don't see any disclosures, which would be required from sort of sponsorship disclosure. So I just think this is something that Intel has very strategically done, and nature.com is reporting on it. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not being paid, and it's just because Intel's closely tied. So computer vision, going back to what I was talking about as far as the technology and the use cases, athletes' performance and training. Intel's 3D athlete tracking 3DAT technology uses AI to track 21 points across the human body. This isn't anything new in the Olympics. This is something that's been done. People have used computer vision models to track biomechanics. Computer vision is the technology. The specific use case with the domain experts in collaboration create things like this. Like even on my phone, I have an app called Sparrow that analyzes my golf swing, breaks it down, gives me tips, sees how my mechanics compare it to a professional golfer, and then you can make adjustments. In the world of the Olympics, you're talking milliseconds at times between third place or not even podium and first place. So everything needs to be so precise, which is why you would use the enhancement of AI and computer vision to do so. Now, other use case that they talk about here, refereeing and real-time data. Again, this isn't anything new. I think we see this a lot of times when you on the breakdowns of networks on American football. And there's a balance, right? Like within sports, people enjoy the human to human interaction. There's always that balance, especially like in baseball, getting rid of the home plate umpire, just utilizing AI and tracking to do balls and strikes. There's still this element of human to human around sports. So you want to be balanced. However, there are use cases where they need a little extra help. You don't want bad calls to be at the detriment of the athletes. So with the utilization of refereeing and real-time data, they're going to be using computer vision as such. Now, enhancing viewer experience is interesting. I think, you can only watch so much. You don't want to miss so much. I remember the days of tuning into ESPN late at night and watching the recap of all sports and everything else. But people like things in real time and active, and the ability to utilize AI. And they actually talk about Intel's Getty computer vision AI platform in this instance to find the right highlights, and then later talk about a different use case that this then feeds into. That way you don't miss a thing. And I actually found an interesting study around this. That's the interpolation. Here it is: a survey of deep learning in sports applications, perception, comprehension, and decision. And through different modeling, not saying this is the specific way that they're doing it, they're able to track things like action recognition, quality assessment summarization, human interaction, gauge excitement through a number of training methodologies. That way, like whether in soccer a goal is scored or some sort of large event based on perhaps maybe crowd noise, all of this being put into some sort of algorithm. That way, eyes can always be on what is appropriate and necessary. I would love to see what the training set looks like for all the different sports. Like, how do you compare whether or not there's something important in water polo versus something important in archery, for example? So I'm sure there's a number of ways. There's probably a human in the loop process of this where you still have to have eyes on it. That way you make sure you don't miss anything. But that kind of collaboration between technology and humans is how we get better and how we're better served. Now, outside of this article, I think it's really important to discuss things like surveillance. Tons and tons of people from all over the world, eyes on it. Not the safest venue to be around, but how do you enhance the safety? AI mass surveillance at Paris Olympics, a legal scholar and security boon and privacy nightmare. This is, of course, the balance between responsible AI, ethical AI, and the ability to serve customers the experience and safety of everyone else. And why is this an issue? Well, AI-powered mass surveillance, for example, using algorithms with computer vision, using drones, using smart cameras, object detection, and understanding when things may be an anomaly, things need to be looked into, things need to be flagged and alerted. But what is happening is that when you're utilizing this kind of technology, you're harnessing data. So for all the people that are in attendance, facial recognition, a whole bunch of that is being captured. And that is more of the privacy element that people kind of worry about with things like, again, mass surveillance. And at least anytime you discuss in law, for example, it becomes a matter of public importance. What is more valuable? And that's where it kind of gets opinionated. Like, is in this instance, is the safety of tens, hundreds, millions of people more important than the privacy of each individual? I would say generally a reasonable person would say yes. However, at the end of everything, what are people doing with the data that they captured at this event? So a number of questions, but France, Paris, maybe specifically EU, General Data Protection Regulation laws, privacy laws. There are reasons why this is legal with some certain guidelines. Again, computer vision. Now, let's talk about the last kind of weird one. The whole personalized feed using a deep fake audio algorithms. And I like this. I like the name of this one. Al Michaels' artificial voice explained why NBC created weird AI for 2024 Olympics broadcast. Well, for me, growing up, and for a number of people around my age and older, actually, and younger, Al Michaels has been the voice of a number of things, including the Olympics. So as he has gotten older, he's still alive. It makes it more difficult for him to keep up, but definitely not doing a personalized feed for each viewer that is watching the Olympics. So using generative AI, they're able to take his voice, create very eerily similar, if not indistinguishable at times, voiceovers of the feeds that you want, in combination with enhancing the viewer experience, understanding what are the right things to push, how many eyes were on it, a whole number of algorithms that I'm sure are proprietary that Intel or whoever else is working with them are doing. So overall, this is a great enhancement to the customer experience, right? Like everything that has been invested in this beyond the safety of the actual, which is arguably, again, the customers that are actually in attendance, as well as the athletes, which would be the product being served, is about enhancing us as the customers. And that's where you see ROI. I'm going to be interested to see kind of the analysis afterwards, what comes out of this, how the enhancements, because what I always find fascinating is what's taken from large scale investment events like this and then adapted into different venues and different sports around the world, and how they will be improved. So we're in the year of AI. So of course, got to have the AI talk track around the Olympics.